Hello and welcome everyone. And today I've got with me one of my loveliest clients. Okay, and I don't say that to everybody. I do really, but I've got Joanne Hart with me, who I haven't seen for ages. So we were just having a little catch up actually before we came here, and then I said we better stop talking and actually get on to doing the live, because we were like saying all the good stuff, weren't we? Just catching up. So welcome, Joanne, and thanks ever so much for joining me on my page today. Tell everybody a little bit about what you do, just to start with.
So I'm Joanne and I own Systematic Homes, which is an organising and decluttering firm. So I support people to declutter stuff they no longer want or need. I help them get it out of their home, help them to create those calm spaces at home and take away lots of stress, anxiety and worry from people.
Yeah, and doesn't that just sound amazing at the moment? Like, who doesn't need a bit of that? I mean, you
Yeah.
know, although I was coaching you, I was always like, oh, I just want Joanne to come and declutter for me. And actually, you inspired me. And like many people during sort of, you know, the first round, if you like, of lockdown, I did actually manage to do a lot of decluttering, and all the while thinking of you. You'll be happy to know.
I did get lots of pictures of people during that time, clients and friends and family,
Yeah,
going, look what I've decluttered. So it's
yeah.
lovely. It's great that people did that because I imagine it kept, a good focus and a good feeling of, health and well-being to
Yeah.
get rid of that stuff.
And it's really important energetically. And of course, and just to set the scene, when you and I met was back in 2019, I think early 2019.
Yes.
And I was actually working with a friend of yours, and you were sort of sitting back, weren't you, watching from afar, and a little bit nervous to kind of come forward and take the step. And like, how long were you doing that for, Joanne? Because I think that's quite common as well.
Well, so I met you just before you started working as a friend when you visited a networking meeting that I was at. And I'm a big
That's right.
believer in, those energies between people. And I immediately thought,
Mm,
I'll work with you. But in my eyes, you were this, and you are obviously, super amazing businesswoman. And who was I to be,
oh my God.
thinking I could work with you, with my little company, and that's, my little business. And that's why I felt a bit, I wanted to be there with you and working with you. And then my friend did work with you, and
Mm,
I mentioned to her, probably I've been watching from the side, probably about 4 months later,
yeah.
I mentioned to her, how's it going? And she raved about you and was saying that she was, so happy with where things were going. And she said she would highly recommend you. So again, I sat around on the sidelines for a month or two, as we all do, and procrastinated
Mm,
about it. And
yeah.
then I seen something that you posted, and I thought, I'm just going to message her. And I
Yeah.
did. And then we had a phone conversation, and I left that phone conversation feeling like I could take on the world.
Oh, that's so amazing. And I remember all of those steps. And it's really interesting here as well, just this whole thing about perception, because I remember being at that networking meeting, and I remember you standing up, and I remember you doing your minute, and I remember thinking, oh, what a great lady. Like, she really knows her stuff. She knows what she's talking about. What a brilliant energy. And, that's what I thought of you, that you were like really confident and really knew what you were doing, and on all of that, and you came across so well. And so we both had this great energy together, but you were thinking, oh no, I can't possibly do that. I was thinking, look at her, she's all sorted and like firing on all cylinders. And it's just really interesting to remind people that, the perception of it isn't really the reality. And I think a lot of people, sit back and they look at coaches and they see a lot of visibility online, then they think, oh, I couldn't really work with them, or they would be interested in sort of my little business. And it couldn't be further from the truth, actually, because you are an amazing client, and you came on such leaps and bounds. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because obviously one of the things that I help all the ladies I work with is sales, and how to sort of package programs up. Look at you laughing
I
already.
know.
And how to really connect with your clients and figure out who they are, and not really how to sell to them, but how to enable them to buy from you happily, so that it's a really nice service and it all matches. And I hope you don't mind me saying is that when we first met, and I said to figuring out what you do and how much you charge and stuff like that, and I said, how do you price out your offerings, and what did you say?
I think I said, well, I just charge an hourly rate, I just
And
that's
what
all
was
I
that hourly
do.
rate?
£25 an hour.
£25 an hour. So that's what you were doing. You were doing your service for £25 an hour, okay, which is absolutely fine. But of course, you're going to need to do a lot of hours at £25 an hour. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that everything can be like, or let's just make everything super expensive. What this was, a conversation and a journey about value.
Yeah.
And you had some workshops running, didn't you? That was the first thing that we actually kind of took a charge of, was your workshop. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I wanted to launch the workshops because I felt there was a real need amongst the clients I was working with to kind of have that space away from their homes, to think about their homes nearly, and to think about what they wanted to achieve without the overwhelmment of all this stuff in their homes. So I set up my workshops, which I really enjoyed doing. But my first one, I think, gosh, I'm trying to think back now, but I think I did my first one for something like £20.
Yeah.
So I spent 4 hours.
Yeah.
I spent months writing the content, getting the boards ready, making it a nurturing space, you know, all of this, and charged £20 an hour. And it was really, you know, it was a lovely, lovely day.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is that thing about the value, and it's about valuing, you know, all that I do outside of that time I spend in a client's home, or outside of that time I spend in a workshop.
Yeah.
You know, the follow-ups, all the things that I do and offer around it. And I kind of wasn't including any of that. I was thinking,
do you remember when we worked it out? But you see, the thing is, it's not just that. It's not just that, because doing something like that was so valuable for you to actually do it, because then it gave you the framework, and then we could sort of build on it. And I remember saying to you, when we sat in the hotel back in the days where we could go and coach in hotels. Yeah. And I said to you, you know, your workshop needs to be at least £75, and you nearly fell off your perch. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Like, I really do.
Yeah, and you felt really, really horrified. And then when we were mapping out a lot of the programs and your sort of future vision and all of that, I mean, be honest, a lot of it at that point, some of it felt a little bit out of reach, didn't it? And you weren't quite sure how it was all going to come together.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel out of reach. Although now, having worked with you and worked around my values and worked around valuing myself,
yeah,
you know, and I kind of understand all that values, there was a bit of me that felt like, who am I to be thinking I can, although I'm not, you know, singing my own praise here, all of my clients are always so happy with the work I do. I get 5-star reviews.
Yes.
Like you give to your clients, I give a lot of my time as well as what I'm doing. You know, they're always happy. No one has ever complained, but yet there's that doubt in our own minds, isn't there? And you know, doing that work around that and actually thinking, you know, I'm not trying to pressure somebody. If somebody doesn't need organising, decluttering, that's fine. But if you do, I know that I can, you know, really work with you, really take, you know, a client sent me a review the other day where she said, who's on the big package that we talked about, and she said to me, I love the care you're taking of me and my home.
There you go. Yeah. You see, it's all about the service. And so when you had the £25 an hour, and then you had the sort of the workshops, and we were mapping out what your offers would be, okay, that would actually be able to make you money. And do you remember when we were pricing the program? Yeah. Do you remember how you felt? What did you say to me?
I think my words are, I could never charge that much.
And how much was that much?
I think we were teetering on the edge of £1,000, but
yeah. So then we were crafting £1,000 program, which, just to put into context, anyone that's listening, was, you know, what is actually called the ultimate journey now, isn't it? So we branded all of that up. So that's the ultimate journey. So obviously that's the top end of what Joanne offers, and there's other things she does as well. But you know, going from £25 per hour into a program which spans over, how long is it again? 3 months.
So it's over 3 months. Yeah,
3 months. That's right. Yeah, 3 months. And that's £997. And, you know, obviously you've just started putting those out there and already sold 4 of them. And that is really super amazing, because when we say like sell, did you feel like you were selling those programs? So let's talk a little bit about what you learned about sales through the journey together, compared to what you thought it was.
In the beginning, my immediate thought was that I was going to be pushing people to take their money.
Yeah.
And that realization that I wasn't. I offer a really good service. I offer a service that is nurturing and kind. You know, it's as much about the physical stuff as the person I am and what I offer.
So
And
much more in what you do than just
when,
decluttering.
I mean, so much. And it's, you know, it is, for some people, it is hand holding. For some people, it's a very emotional journey, you know, and there's all these other stuff that can come with decluttering and then organizing. And then, you know, on this journey, we look at routines and systems that help you to keep it in place. All of that is so vital. And when I talk to people now about the ultimate journey, I'm not selling it. I'm just talking about what I do.
Yes.
And if it resonates with them, and if it's like, yes, I need to declutter, I need to organize, and I need to change some habits, it's like the whole journey. And once I started to see it as, you know, me holding you for 3 months, like, you know, you hold your clients for periods of time and help them get to the next stage, like you've helped me. And then, you know, we step back and we do that, and then we come back again.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same thing. And knowing that actually what you do for me, I'm then doing for someone else, because I now understand the value of what I do. It didn't make it feel like I was selling or pushing. It made it feel like I was saying, look what I can do for you.
Yeah, well, exactly, because that's what it is. And I always say that, you know, it's about serving. Okay, it's about delivering what somebody needs to them at a fair exchange as well. So all the things have to be right. There's a lot in it, and it does all need to line up. But also, you know, the work that we did together on you understanding who that actual person is and what their problems are and what their needs are, and then how you can link your solutions to that. They've also got to be, you know, problems that are painful enough that they want to pay for them. And these are all the things that you understand now. So when you get a client now, how do you feel? Because I know you wrote me a testimonial some time back that said, I wouldn't even have guided, something like, I wouldn't have even guided my clients towards something at all. I would just kind of let them choose and just sort of, well, I've got to be, if you want to, kind of approach. And then of course, if you give people that sort of option, they're like, I know, perhaps I'll wait, I don't think I will. And you start putting that energy onto them as well. So it's all quite energetic. And that's just shifted so much, hasn't it? So how do you feel now when you get an inquiry?
So when I get an inquiry now, I always go straight back to, let's have a chat. You know, get an inquiry. I like to talk to people because I need to understand what they want.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas before I used to go, oh, well, I do this, and maybe it's this that you want, or maybe
depends
maybe
what you want. That's another thing people say. Well, it depends.
And now I always say, you know, I obviously send them a link to my website, you know, as well. But I would say, let's jump on Zoom, let's jump on the phone, let's have a chat, because then I can hear about what you want, and that tends to be the first thing. And you know, and then once we've done that, I tend to then talk about, you know, where I think there might be, you know, depending if somebody's living too far away that maybe wants my help, you know, I do stuff on Zoom, but you know, anybody that, you know, in Hertfordshire and Bedfordshire and places like that, you know, the ultimate journey is often the best solution.
Yes, exactly.
It's the solution. It's not a stopgap or you know, it is about the whole ultimate journey.
And I think what's amazing about that really in terms of serving your clients is that because you understand what you're doing, because you spent time understanding who they are and what they need, it's a whole matching system. Okay. And you remember all the time unpicking the kind of like the first meetings that you would have, you know, and I was like, what did they say? And what did they say about this? And how did they say it? And you were like, we went through it, didn't we? Like bit by bit to really unravel, because people aren't always saying what you think they're saying. You know, they're giving you a lot of other messages. And we did quite a bit of work around that, didn't we? That communications piece.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there was even one occasion when I was at a different networking meeting and I'd read out my fabulous 60-second pitch that I was so happy with. And somebody said, oh, you could have actually been talking about me. And I was like, oh, no, I wasn't.
Wow, there you go. You know, yay.
Instead of going, you want to talk afterwards like I would do now, I immediately thought, oh, gosh, I hope I haven't upset them, or, you know, and it's that kind of whole change in dynamics. Whereas now I'd go, do you want to catch up later? Let's arrange a one-to-one.
Your mindset has shifted through doing all of that. And of course, you know, what's interesting about our work, and not to go into detail as well, but we do quite a lot of personal work. There's a lot of personal coaching that I do. And I think, you know, that changed dramatically, didn't it, from the beginning or further down the journey. And let's
Oh
talk a little
yeah.
bit about the personal side of it, because it's not just all about the strategy and how to sell and how to do this and how to do that.
No, it definitely wasn't. And I know on a couple of our sessions, I turned up and I had stuff going on that was kind of taking my energies away from myself and work, and I wasn't kind of able to turn it around and get myself in the right focus. And you'd always, you know, get me to pause. Right, let's talk about this. Let's just focus on this for a bit at the beginning. And it meant that I got a lot more than just my business. I grew as a person. I developed a lot more respect for myself and the opportunity to be able to say no. That it, you know, I'm, you know, naturally I'm quite a giving person. I love that feeling of being able to help people, which what makes me really good at what I do. But sometimes, you know, you can get caught up in helping people when actually you've got to let them find the way themselves. Yes. And it's frustrating for you and it's frustrating for them. And that realization that it's okay to sit back and say, no, it's okay, let me know when you're ready, and not feel like it's you, just feel like you're happy to wait. And all of that personal stuff helps you grow so much more in your business as well.
Well, it's all personal, isn't it? It's all personal. You know, if you've got things going on in your life, and we've all had it, you know, stresses and struggles and strains, you can't focus, like you can't concentrate, you can't think about your business because you're so distracted. And I think it's very, very important. I always say, you know, I coach the woman, I don't coach the business. Okay, the business is the result of what we're doing, and that will be great, but it's always about, you know, the woman and who you are. And, you know, boundaries work is a lot we do. Values work is super important. And I noticed, I hope you don't mind me saying in this phase, I noticed how much you then really shifted to value yourself and come to terms with some things and recognize some things through your life and, you know, what you were trying to do, that you valued yourself. You really stepped up into your confidence. You put some great boundaries in place where boundaries needed to be put. And as a result of that, you were able to focus on the business. As a result of that, the confidence then transferred into your business. And that was really showing.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, it totally transferred personal and business life. I felt more like I had balance, you know, that I wasn't kind of all business or all personal, that it was, you know, I could do both.
Just you.
And, and, you know, like everybody, I still had some days that were difficult and things didn't always go to plan, but I could recover so much quicker and bring myself back into a space where I could think, right, where am I going to turn to next? What am I going to do? I mean, yeah, sometimes that involved messaging you, but
that's what I'm here for.
But, you know, I
resilience though.
I had resilience and I could pivot. Whereas before, if I had done a program or if I had thought of doing something, you know, I kind of felt like I didn't want to change it because it was saying I'd failed. Whereas now I think, that didn't work, let's move it this way.
I remember that. That. That's really interesting because that does come up quite a lot. Is that, well, no, because I thought of this and I created this and this is my thing. And if I let go of it or I change it, it means that I got it wrong. It means that I failed. It means I'm no good. And it's rubbish. What it means is that I've actually done something. I've taken an action. I've put it out there. And actually, it's not quite what I thought. You know, it needs tweaking, needs changing. It's like that's with coaching. You look at it, what's worked, what hasn't, go again, discard what you don't need, let it go. Like, don't be attached to things. You know, I change stuff quite frequently. You know, my mind, my ideas, what I'm doing, I'm not attached to. If it doesn't work, I'll just change it and go again. And I think because that's how you find the way forward, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think when you're sitting back on social media and all these platforms and you're looking at people, you know, who you put up here and you think, oh, I want to be there with them. You know, it's those things, isn't it? That actually you can be with them. Just be authentic, be you, know your values, you know, trust in yourself, you know, and you know, when you decided you're going to change something, just change it. Don't, you know, and it's those things, it's that realization that you can go, that didn't work. Okay, let's move on. And let's try this.
So flexibility is there as well. So we've got resilience, flexibility, the growth, and this is the whole growth through coaching. And it's not just, it's, you know, people buy the outcome, of course, you know, help you grow your business, make money, have freedom, success, whatever those things are. But that is the journey. And I think showcasing, you know, interviews like this is really, really important so that women realize wherever they are, whatever the stage is, you know, there is always help for them. And just because you see people online being really visible, you don't assume anything. I don't think you can't reach out to them like someone like me. I mean, that makes me laugh that you thought that, to be honest. I'm like, it's just me, come and talk to me. And so when people say that, it makes me worry as well that there's a lot of other women feeling like that wouldn't come forward and that need help with their business. So this is why it's really good to just sort of talk things out like this in an interview. So, you've gone from sort of your £25 an hour to selling your £997 program. You've done a hell of a lot of work in between. So it's not just that transformation we're talking about there, but it's to do with, you valuing yourself, your services, getting things into shape, knowing, who you are, knowing who you're selling to, and what you're solving for them, and learning all those communication strategies along the way around the sales vibe as well. So can I ask you how you feel about sales now and selling?
I don't kind of feel like I'm selling.
Exactly. I love that.
I'm
Yeah.
offering service. My service is a very caring and nurturing service, and I love talking about it. I'm kind of, when you put it into that thing, it's, somebody who is organized is never going to be looking for me online, so
Yeah.
it's somebody
So it's
who,
serving, really, isn't it?
yeah,
And actually the monetary part of it is realizing the value. And also when you get those things matched, this is what I say as well, people want to buy. They want to, they've got money, they want to buy, and there's much more invested in a financial exchange as well, than just helping. And I think a lot of women with businesses like yours that are very sort of like caring, they're very personal, very considerate, they worry about attaching money to it.
yeah,
But you must do as well, because that's where the value piece is for the client also, and that's their decision. Let them make their decision and just be able to lead them along the way. So I mean, I'm right, you can probably tell I'm like super proud of you. I'm really excited for what you've achieved, and that you message me, you say this is what I've done, and now I've sold 4, and you can't even believe it yourself. And I'm just really, really thrilled, because that's the impact of coaching, that now you and your daughter, little Maggie, do you know what I mean, you're now sort of like providing, and you're creating your own economy. And that's what I'm really passionate about, helping women to create their own economy, okay, which is all about independence, as one of my values as well. So what would you say was the most useful that you've had out of your coaching journey?
oh gosh, I mean, so many things. God, I'd say for me, it's trusting in myself and my abilities.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
it's
love that.
in myself and my abilities, and knowing that what I do is amazing and it's different from what other people do, and valuing that.
Yeah, it's unique. And I think at the beginning I said to you, I kind of like see you as at the Marie Kondo of like, of whatever. And you were like, oh, no. Do you know what I mean? And actually it's true though, isn't it? Because we were talking about how much value there is in, for instance, what she does. And the only difference is that she's just scaled it massively.
Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere. This is the thing. And so when you look at people that have been so successful, or you don't know their journey, you don't know their background, you don't know what's going on. But it's really important to be able to start something that you can scale going forward. And it takes time. It takes time to build. And I'm all about the foundational work. And I think that's what's really important with what we've done, is put those foundations in place, because then obviously when the first lockdown hit, we're able to work really quickly on getting something into an online space, weren't we, with your online program? Let's just talk about that for a couple of minutes before we wrap up, because that was quite a key point. And
it's a massive key point, and it's something that obviously currently will be promoting again, but have continued to promote and continue to do.
Yeah.
And it was initially called the Quick Fix, and we were just going to do it kind of, we were planning out stepping stones, and then lockdown, the first one happened. And I messaged you one day going, can I change it? You were like, if you want. And we changed it to creating calm spaces. And actually it's doing really well. So it's a Zoom online call. I send through some questions, people answer the questions and send me photos. I map out what we're going to do. and then I speak to them online, give them
I
guidance.
loved it. I was really excited about that when we were creating
Brilliant.
that. Yeah, because people say, "Oh, I don't know. Well, can you declutter online? Can you do?" And I was like, "Well, of course you can, because they can do it. You're just a facilitator." And of course, that's something that then you can turn into a program that you can sell without you attached to it, and all kinds of stuff. So it's got huge potential. Lots of ways that we'll be able to sort of shape that up, and of course create different streams of revenue, which is what's really important. But of course, at the beginning, you need to create one stream and then sort of break it from that. And I think sometimes people rush to do too much too soon. So you've just really impressed me, Joanne. I think as a client, everything that you implement and everything that you do, and the careful consideration that you take to do things, and even when you found it really tough, and let's be honest, coaching isn't always that easy, is it?
There were times
there's tears, there's stress, there's blocks, there's resistance, there's all this stuff that comes up, especially in those first couple of months, and you always digested it all. You went away, you thought about it, reflected, and then brought it back again. And the one thing with you is you were always absolutely determined to make it work.
But I'm more determined now.
Good. Yeah, good. Absolutely.
And that's because of you, because you encourage me to value myself, but also I know that you kind of support me and champion me, and I'm sure you do for all of the ladies you work with. And I think it's great. I remember you saying to me, I think in our first session, "I'm here for your business." And I remember thinking, you won't have enough time, but it always feels like you 100% are, and it always has done. And even, when I took a bit of a break from some coaching, and I still have such a long coaching journey with you to go, but because there's so many more things I want to achieve, but you still checked in on me. And I thought that was really nice, because lockdown was difficult, but it's lovely to have all of that extra stuff. And that's
the support is key. Like, I think if you just have like isolated coaching sessions and then all this space in between, I've found that it's the space in between where people do really need you. So, you do a lot of work on the call in the session, and then in between is what's important. And so, I do. I mean, I have to say, I do, do my utmost to give that support and be there in between that, even when there are breaks. I mean, you lost your father during lockdown. It was a very difficult time for you. We still remained in contact. It's not just about whether you're my client or whether you're on a break or not. It's about the relationship that we've built, and that will continue. And it's the same with all our clients. It's an ongoing relationship. You never know when someone's going to come back later on, or when someone's going to make a referral. And so it's about building those long-term, genuine relationships, which, you do, I do. And that's the values that we work on, which is why we were a good match, as they say, a good fit.
And I think I take a lot of that stuff from you, and I use that in my program. It's that thing where that client said, taking care of me and my home. I think it's all that stuff that I've learned from being on this journey with you that has made me realize the importance of, doing that. So I touch base with my clients in between sessions. I follow up with stuff.
It makes a difference. It's important.
As well as fantastic coaching, you share such good ideas and the importance of all the different things. And that's an added bonus, isn't it?
We all like a bonus. Oh, listen, Joanne, it's been a pleasure, and seriously, well done. It's really lovely for me, genuinely, to see that sort of growth and that journey in front of my eyes. When I first meet someone, they're kind of like a bit nervous and got a few bits here and stuff there, and quite stressed actually a lot of the time. And then sort of being able to unravel all of that. That's what we did at the beginning, unpacking it all, didn't we? Did a lot of unpacking, unraveling, and then putting the things all back together again, all those bits along the way. And it's just lovely for me, it's rewarding for me, and that's why I do it, to see that and then hear what the results are. It's super. So well done, and long may it continue. Good luck with everything. I'll be speaking to you ever so soon. And thanks for coming on and sharing some of your story today.
It was brilliant to get to share it. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot. And I'll speak to you soon, Joanne. Bye-bye now. Bye.